Hey, welcome back to Maintainer's Garage. I'm Bags. Today's video we're going to be installing some sound deadener in my C6 Corvette. Sound deadening installation is very similar. It's almost a universal kind of thing put into cars. You know, every car shapes and interior is different, but the application is basically the same. What am I going to be using for sound deadening material? This is Frost King duct insulation. Back in 2010, with my first Corvette, I decided to install a new stereo system. One of the car magazines did an article on this. It was intriguing. Then that generated some internet discussion on a car forum, and a couple guys tried it, and they had good results. They didn't have any dB readings, they just said it worked. I decided to try it. So I bought this, tried it, and I heard a noticeable difference. My wife, now, who was my girlfriend then, she hadn't noticed a difference. I liked it so much after I wrecked that car and got another Corvette and I did that stereo system, I did it again and again, I noticed good results. Very specifically in the hatch area, but overall there was definitely reduced noise and vibration, and the stereo sounded good. Now, I don't have anything to compare this to. I've never used insert sound deadening material here compared to this. I've only used the Frost King in my cars. So I can't tell you it's better or worse than anything else. I could only tell you, hey, you know, as a car enthusiast who likes to play with his cars, I tried this product and I like the results. Will you like the results? I don't know. If you want to have any comments or some discussion about this, you got any questions, put them down below. I'll do my best to answer them as best I can. Anyway, back to this. This comes in it's 12 inches wide, 15-foot rolls, it's $18. It takes about 5 rolls to do an entire car. That's what I've got 5 to do this one, so we'll see how that goes. And so at 18, 19, 20 bucks a roll, that's fairly inexpensive to do the entire car. This stuff, again, is easy to use. You just take a utility knife and score this aluminum outer sheathing, fold or retract and lock your razor so you don't bleed out making a video for the interwebs, and then you just grab and peel and it tears right off. This stuff is sticky, adhesive back. You don't need to use a heat gun, just got to press it down, and I'll go over that a little more in the video. And again, it's lightweight, flexible, easy to bend and push into corners and whatnot. So in that, the one thing I will say is I live in the metro Atlanta area. I had it on my first car 3 years before I totaled that car out. I had it on my second car years before I had it. In the summertime, I never smelled anything, ever. Down in Savannah, Georgia, where it's freaking hot, running track days, never smell anything. Here at Road Atlanta, middle of summer, running track days, never smell anything. That's the other reason I use this, is because I know it doesn't have any asphalt or anything like that. It's going to, as it gets hot, it's going to release some sort of odor in the car. Doesn't happen. That's my thoughts about Frost King. I think it works well. I've used it. I like it. I know some other people have. If you have any questions, like I said, ask me. I'm only going to show you one door, because one door is the same as the other door, so you only need to see that. I'm going to show you, one passenger footwell, one side of the tranny tunnel, and I'll show you all the hatch area. But I'm having a hard enough time trying to keep these videos at reasonable length, and I have diarrhea of the mouth all the time. So I'm going to just show you one side, but basically just know that, hey, if one door, just like the other door, one footwell, just like the other footwell, you'll get the idea. I'm doing my best to help y'all along and hopefully have a little fun without boring you to tears with all my BS and nonsense. All right, with all that said, let's finish up this car. One of the main things that you need to do when it comes to any sound deadener, but Frost King is very susceptible to. If the surface you're adhering it to isn't clean, if there's dust and dirt and debris, it's not going to adhere to it. No sound deadener will. I'm going to vacuum this up really well, and then I'm going to take a damp with water, cloth, rag, wipe up any excess dirt, wipe it dry. That way I can ensure the sound deadening I'm putting down have a good bond, stay down, and do its job. Devil's in the details, and that's one of those details. All right, let's do it. Got the floor all vacuumed up, wiped down, dry. Now I'm just going to pull this off. I'm going to start at the back, work my way forward, and as I get to the front here, I'm just going to run it up that edge. I'm not going to worry about trimming this off. It'll be okay. What you want to do is, I'm going to come back and I'm going to put some on this. I don't want to go too high up it down here, and I'm going to put some on this back wall. So I just want to get it really close to the edge. And then as I get up front, take my razor and slice it. And you want a little bit of overlap up front, but not a whole bunch. You really got to make sure you're pushing down and getting this sealed properly. You can do it by hand. You can use a roller. I like my hands better than rollers. That's why I wear these gloves. And these bolt holes, the bolts, the studs from the floor that the seat go through, just puncture it, go straight through, no problem. And you just want to take your hand, or however you decide to, get this down, and just press and rub. Try to rub all the air bubbles out, and you'll get a great seal, and you'll see it start to stick. And you can, push down with both fists, knuckles, whatever works for you. You just want to make sure you get all the air bubbles out, gets down. That's where your sound deadening really starts coming into play, when you've got these two surfaces mated together well. Just do another run right next to that, overlap about 1/4 of an inch. You want to make sure you got all your wire harnesses up, so you want to try to get your sound deadening material under your wire harnesses. There's a spot right here that is glued to the floor with the little metal tabs on it. You unbend the tabs, cut it out, put it down, tabs will come right through. And you actually end up with more than 1/4 inch of overlap because of the width here, which is no problem. Little more overlap, it doesn't cause any problems at all. And you want to make sure that you're pushing this down and getting it sealed right against this edge. And let me slice this for that holder, for that wire harness. And there's another one up front. Slice, tear around, and then you just push this down, wrap it around. I'll get the little camera and show you what I did when I get this all the way down. Always remember to put your knife back before you kill yourself. And same thing, just make sure you push down, get all the air bubbles out. You want to get a good bond, good adhesion. Poke through for the seat studs. All right, there we go. And just keep going over it so you know it's got a good flat bond and all the bubbles are out. Little air bubble right there. There we go. Now it's out. Again, detailed work. Spend the 5, 10, 15 minutes getting this right. You don't ever have to come back to it. Pay dividends every day. All right, so these are the two tabs right here. As you can see, I just made a slice. I'll put the wire harness down, put one tab down, put the other tab down. That's it. And then I'll just push this down to ensure I've got a good seal right there. And there's one just like this up front, same situation. Cut it, get the wire harness down, close the little tabs, push sound deadening around, you're done. All right, during the editing I found one of my files was corrupted. It was the intro to this next segment. And I'm going to be installing a stereo system into the car, and in that stereo system I've got an aftermarket amplifier. I'm going to mount that amplifier behind the seat, but with the sound deadening material down, you don't want to, I'm going to end up using a sheet of plywood. You don't want to mount that plywood to the sound deadening material, because that's not a good structural bond. You want to mount it to the actual structure of the car, put sound deadener on top of it. I'm going to go through that right now, but the quick intro to that got jacked up, so that's why I don't look the same, and that's why this is here. But let's get into the amplifier mounting stuff now over that. This is 3/8 inch exterior use plywood. Clearly it's not going to get wet inside the car, hopefully. My other one did, but hopefully this one doesn't. Measured it out, got what I want. I went a little bit larger than the amplifier. Glue plywood directly to the structure of the car. That way I'll have a good strong bond. Then we'll put sound deadening directly on top of that. And then the amp will get screwed through the sound deadening right into the plywood. Be a good strong bond. That way, in case, God forbid, knock on wood, no crash, the amp doesn't come flying off, the plywood doesn't come flying off. You just want to make sure you clean your surface before you bond it. This is just good old-fashioned water. Once that's thoroughly dry, you put the bonding agent on the plywood, glue it down. Wipe down your board just like you wipe down your surface. It's all good. I got a couple pieces of duct tape to hold it in. Good old-fashioned construction adhesive is all you're going to do on this. That looks about centered and straight, and push down. That's why I have these pieces of tape to help hold this in place while it cures. Let that dry, cure. You've got plenty of other stuff to do. All right, now we're ready to do this bulkhead. Then we'll transition here and we'll do this whole top rung. Our board has been curing for 2-3 hours. It needs to cure for about 24. That's fine. You can put the stuff right on top of that. No worries. It'll just, you just want to make sure you get it down as tight as you can get it, like you did everywhere else. It'll be fine. Got to put some sound deadening on this side of the tunnel, and the top of the tunnel. We'll save the driver's side till we're get over there. Like every other previous one, wipe it down, clean it up, sound deadener on. We're going to be applying sound deadening almost to every inch of this, as much as we can. Behind each speaker, all of this wheel well, back here, these holes, all this is getting sound deadening. Just like the rest of it, you want to vacuum, then wipe it down, make sure it's dry. That way your sound deadening can get a good bond. All right, what we're going to do here is just unravel it and do these long sections first, because it's very simple. You don't have to make a lot of intricate cuts. You can just put this down, pull back, you want it straight, unlike, you know, what the cluck I just did, and you can trim it off. And that's exactly what I'll do. Like the rest of the car, I'll do these long sections first, come back here, then I'll probably do the back, then I'll do these arches, then I'll do the wheel well cubbies. Okay, all done in the trunk. Definitely sounds better. So I'm going to take you inside the door panel right now. There is so much trash and garbage inside of here. I just wanted to show you so you could look at it. I'm going to get a vacuum and come in here and vacuum all this out before I put any sound deadener in here. You rarely get an opportunity to get behind something like this, so when you do have that opportunity, you should take it and just clean it up. Removing this will also allow you to get access into there to help vacuum it up and also be able to put the sound deadener. This is just held on with some really nasty sticky stuff. If you just pull slowly, it will separate and you can pull this right off. And when it comes time to put this back on, this stuff normally sticks. If it doesn't, good old-fashioned duct tape will get you there. You can just take tape measure and go from the bottom to here, and it's 37 inches. Cut off a 37-inch piece. This is an angled piece, so what you want to do is you actually want to go a little further than that. And on the inside of the door, and I'll try to get my little camera to show you what I'm talking about when I get it done, you're going to need to overlap it. You're going to want to overlap it anyway to get the best results. And then you can just feed it in. You want to try to get this on the bottom of the seam as possible. You want to get it as low as possible, because when you do the lower portion of the door, you want the two to overlap. Just take the back of your hand if you're wearing gloves. This stuff it ain't gonna cut you. I just like the gloves because I don't have to think about it. It's not gonna rip through here and cut me. So you just start pushing it with your hand, and you just keep working your hand, the back of your hand against the material, and you can just really keep pushing. And if it gets to a point where you've got a slight gap, if you push it in, it'll fill it. If it splits, it's okay, as long as it doesn't tear too much. But you just want to make sure you apply pressure, pushing all of this in. And the harder you push, you want to pull the door in and hold it so you're not pushing against the stop. The better of a job you do to ensure that it's all the way flat and on the surface, two things. One, the better job of sound deadening it does. Two, the better job of sticking and staying where you put it, it does. And again, the gloves realistically aren't for this. It's more about not worrying about any of these edges or anything, or the sharp metal corners in here. I can just go to work. This is inside the door seam. I didn't do a good job of getting my hand down in there, and it split and tore, which is fine. I just have to cut a small piece and wedge it down in there to fix it. If you do what I did, and you happen to make a small mistake and you tear it, no problem. This stuff is easy, it's manageable, it's sticky, it's okay. You can fix these problems. On the bottom side of the door, the other side of this, you want to make sure you get all of that. What you also want to make sure is it comes up a little bit onto the wall. So you just kind of got to measure it out, add an inch or two, and then put it in. And there's a support here for the window, obviously right here. You just do the best you can. Piecemeal it in, section it in. Don't go crazy, don't get insane. Just do the best you can. Unless you're trying to win an SPL competition or something like that, if you do an okay job here, you'll have a noticeable improvement, and you'll get better mid-bass response out of the driver that you put in your door. And you'll get less road noise. So it's a win-win-win-win. Sounds like a law firm advertisement, right? Right. I've covered most of the inside of the door. You will see I stopped at that ledge right there, and I'm okay with that. I got the wife's car out of here. So it gave me a little bit of room to stretch out. Who doesn't like to stretch out? I'm going to do the other side. So that's enjoyable. That's why I got a little different view here. So I finished the inside of the door. There's a bar that goes from one end of the door to the other. I didn't go above that bar. I just did below that bar. I did not do this panel here. I didn't do the back side at all. I did do the bottom of the door all the way up into about this wire harness. I've done this previously a couple times and I've had good results. I like the way it worked out, so that's why I just rinsed and repeated what I knew worked. There's a couple spots in here that are overlapping on weird angles. Just to make sure this stuff doesn't release, I just took a piece of black, again waterproof duct tape, covered up that seam to ensure that the edges weren't going to peel up. A good solution is a solution. It's not a dumb idea if it works. Always thinking. So anyway, I'm going to put this back on. All right, we got all our sound deadening done, and like I said, you know, I've had good results with the Frost King. If you want to talk about it in comments down below, hey, let's talk about it. Now, next video, probably about 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. We'll be installing all the car stereo stuff and putting everything back together and checking her out. And we're going to be installing a 5-channel amplifier, new double den head unit with Android Auto, component door speakers, rear speakers, rear camera, and a couple 8-inch subwoofers. So hopefully you'll tune into that, and we'll have some fun with that too. Hey, thanks for watching Maintainer's Garage, and have a great day.